Hello, beautiful YouTube. Hello, beautiful YouTube. It is Emily. I hope you are having a truly glorious moment, whether it is day or night. Welcome to this space. Today, I want to have a conversation about inner authority. And of course, we will also have to discuss divine will and free will. And I don't think divine will and free will are in a contradiction or juxtaposition to one another. I'll be explaining why. And I also want to look at the etymology of the word heretic and talk a little bit about initiation and the heretical way versus the religious way. And again, maybe these are both ways to the same place, and maybe they're ways to different places. So I want to talk about that within the context of the age of AI, which we are very much in, and how we can really protect our creative abilities as human beings. So before I begin, I just want to clear this space of anything that is not within my own sovereign free will choosing. So clearing anything that is inorganic, artificial, malevolent, or going against the law of one in any way, shape, or form. I do not consent to you, and we in this space, we do not consent to you. Okay, here we go. So, where shall we begin? Well, first let's talk about the etymology of heretic. So heretic comes from an ancient Greek word, herkitos, and it means the one who is able to choose. The one who is able to choose. Okay, if you were to go look at, say, like a 1700s etymological dictionary and you were to look up the term heretic, you would find a different definition than the origin of the energy field. You would find something that will say someone who holds opinions that are contrary to the fundamental points of religion. Okay, at a certain point within our history, a certain organization decided that they were going to press very steep consequences for being one who was imbued with heretical abilities and wisdom and knowledge. And this certain organization decided that they were going to start murdering and killing women who were holders and able to fully teach the wisdom of not needing a middleman, not needing a organization, not needing a system to initiate yourself into, instead just being able to go within, to receive that direct communion and that direct initiation with your divine source creator. But how is this organization going to have control and domination and authority and power and make money if everybody just knows that it's within and you don't need some system outside yourself, because you are a human being, you have this beautiful organic intelligence of your organ system, you have been created in the womb of a woman, and therefore every single being comes from the womb. And by virtue of being a human being on a planet, being born of a woman, coming from a womb, you are given this incredible gift of life. You have this incredible experience of being conscious, of being awake, of being alive, of being able to smell fresh lavender, of being able to taste strawberry lemonade, of being able to see birds cawing and flapping through the sky, of being able to feel the wind breeze across your face. And you are a part of this earth. You are connected to the fundamental building blocks of all of existence. And even if you are disconnected from all that you are, and you have forgotten that you are a part of the flowers and a part of the rivers and a part of the air and a part of the trees and a part of the soil and the nutrients of the soil, you are not an isolate fleck that does not have connection to this beautiful natural intelligence that is Divine Mother Earth, Divine Mother Sophia Gaia, this like procreant Ma. And so now inner authority, to have inner authority and to be able to start to come into the inner wisdom and the inner knowledge of your God-given free will, okay? Free will that is indeed, I believe, within a consensus reality. So free will is something that you have when you do no harm to yourself and you do no harm to any other within the consensus. It's like the golden rule, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. But right now on our planet, there are many people who, and bless these people, pray for these people, because regardless of where you find yourself on whatever part of the globe, in whatever family or government or system or culture, it is brave to be here on earth. It is, whether you are a volunteer and you are here to help clear the karma of a family lineage, or whether you are here because of a karmic contract, either way, it is the exact same work. It is the exact same process to slowly clear out the distortions that being born into this society has given to so many of us. And so that process is in itself its own initiation back to the original divine source of your beingness, back into your inner authority, your sovereign divinity as a human being. And this heretical wisdom, this, what some people call the left-handed path of Christ consciousness, cosmic Christ consciousness, right? This lineage of Yeshua, HaMashiach. Okay, HaMashiach means the anointed one. So Yeshua, the anointed one, born of Mary of Anna. This being who learned from his grandmother and his mother how to be able to be a heretic. If this sounds blasphemous to you, I'm not the person you should be listening to. If this is making sense to you, you understand what I'm saying. He had the power to choose until perhaps he lost the power to choose. I'm sure, 100% sure that could be up for debate, whether or not he chose to be a martyr, or whether he, it was very oppressive times and he had a lot of attacks. And if you believe the stories, he survived many attempts of murder. Like, miraculously, they would try to kill him and he would not die until eventually he was crucified. And I don't know. Like, I'm not going to pretend to be somebody who can tell you whether his death was his own choice or whether something within his being decided to be a martyr, because I do deeply feel that God, source, love of all of life, is not asking any one of us to be a martyr. And yet, also, I do understand that sometimes when, I don't know what you want to call it, evil, darkness, it's simply unconsciousness. Sometimes when unconsciousness is running rampant on a planet and someone decides to start to shine consciousness, that puts them in the spotlight, and the unconsciousness doesn't like that the consciousness is starting to dawn like the age of Aquarius and all of the human beings that it's dawning in. And so it goes after it, which happened back then. And I think the frequencies on the planet supported that. And I do think the frequencies on the planet are so different now with all of the influx of light codes that we have. And I really do believe that there are enough human beings who are standing within their sovereign divinity on this earthly plane at this time, who together have the power to choose and are using their free will choice that is within the divine's will and within the law of one. Do no harm to self or other within the law of one. And that together we are all, and I think that we'll just see this more and 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 more people are going to be claiming their creative power to be extraordinary, to be who they are meant to be. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this whole journey that we're all on as community and as friends, is that each and every person has a very unique purpose and a very different role to play. And yet all of our purposes and all of our roles work together in a unified way to uplift not only ourselves, but the larger collective and humanity at large. And so this is an exciting time to be alive. More than anything, I hope each and every one of us feel extreme gratitude for the gift we have been given. And let me see if there's anything else to conclude this message. So free will, we probably could all agree that a human being that is more in alignment to their source, I am, divine presence, has more free will choice than a person who feels disempowered and is deeply disconnected from their source. And as somebody, as all humans, you've probably at one time or point in you've probably at one point or another felt disempowered, or looked at the circumstances of your life and been like, wow, I do not like the circumstance of my life. But yet you've got to this point where you're like, but I have to take creative responsibility for what my life is. And I think this is a beautiful moment in anybody's path. And what in that moment, and if I could just speak for myself, I think what's really happening when you're in that place is your heart is calling you to be more in alignment with the law of one. And the more you begin to align yourself with the true nature of reality, like truth, right? Truth. Okay. Truth in English comes from, I think, a Germanic root, and it comes from the etymological understanding of loyalty. The truth is loyal. The truth is loyal to the law that is one. And you could say that God, what God is, what divinity is this principle of reality, this law of reality that allows everything to flower and to coexist in unison and harmonious resonance. And yet, again, we've been born into this society that distorts us. It distorts our being. It distorts our emotional body. It distorts our mental body. The matrix machine is doing what it can to take people further and further and further away from the true nature of reality, the true nature of beingness. And so the reclamation of, wow, I'm suffering. I am suffering, and I maybe know why, or I don't know why. If I don't know why, I need to start looking at my shadow and doing shadow work. And you are not meant to be experiencing deep suffering and pain, and yet it is okay if you are, and that's the place you're at, because that is a human condition of these times. It's a sign of the times to feel that existential, I don't know if it's dread or fear or worry, but it's really your heart signaling to you, come back to truth. Come back to your reason for being, your incarnational reason for being, the reason that you came to be. And come back to the source of your beingness. And remember the fullness of that you don't have to be a vessel that is full of fear or full of anxiety or full of judgment or full of incessant thinking. You can choose to be a divine body temple that is full of joy and is full of peace and is resonating in alignment with truth. And I do believe more and 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 more humans are doing this. And the more that do this, the more that frequency, that consciousness signature will flourish. It really will be. I think we are in for a very surprising treat that is just like an auspicious, I don't know when, I don't know at what point within the next decade we will really start to see a huge shift or a change of, really it's a remembrance of divine feminine and what she brings. I do think it's happening. It's certainly happening in communities and pockets. When we'll start to see it mass scale across all of humanity, I do not know, but I do think within our lifetimes we will see almost like a renaissance of this knowing and understanding of the power of the human heart and the what's the word, like the astonishment, the fascination, the amusement, I don't know exactly the word, but that pivotal moment in any person's initiatory journey where one chooses with every fiber of their being, one chooses with the fullness of their being that, oh, my free will, what I'm choosing as my free will is actually divine will. And that is, I think, something that's difficult to do in this world where, I want this, I can order this, it can be at my house in 24 hours, and I do not have to, You know, we're in this society of convenience and distraction. And the best things in life are absolutely 100% free. The best things in life are free. But they do require devotion and investment. And there's so much distraction and there's so much convenience, and so many people are going to the middleman and outsourcing their creative potentials instead of cultivating the devotion and strength and dedication and commitment to remember, to get quiet enough that you can hear that inner voice speak to you and lead you on your own inner path of communion with your divine self. People are on their cell phones and they're scrolling. So their divine self never even gets the chance to actually be heard by them. Maybe not in this community. This community might be out in nature, sitting on the earth in the sunshine, hearing the river and receiving direct communication that is clear and true and accurate and grounded in reality from the divine self. But that is the way, that is the heretical way back to the gift that is you have everything you need. You've been given everything you need. It's just that maybe you've been taught that you need something outside yourself. Maybe some person, some mentor taught you that you need to do A, B, and C if you want to have X, Y, and Z. But maybe you don't actually need to do that. Maybe that person was caught in a matrix trap and they gave you bad advice. You know? Okay, let me check in one last time. Is there anything else that I should share? Okay, I'm going to end with a light code, setting the intention that this light code will be for the highest service to each and every listener and myself. And if you stayed all the way to the end of this message and you would like to help other people who need this message find this message, you can give this message a thumbs up. You can leave a comment. You could send it to someone who you know would resonate. All of these things would help this message find those who are meant for it. Kia rupata nia kia wu uihu uihu huia hiata kia rua mia tiarahi kia rahi yata yaki ru ru miata ka ia la mana asa tiki sali a tiki pa a Aramina shita ikia ruwa. Tash antikaba asha. Tu rais maku raminaka. Mia sa ikitaka ash. Miataka ara. Miasotu aramaka inataa. Ki ara muea ata iki asaa. Ora es ara asa. Ora kiamata. Ora sushu sa ikitakara ishkaskai itakai ishkaskai. Ikatagai skai tikatagai skai tikataka utukataka shkaska tikataka irtukura tiara ama. Okay, wonderful. And so it is. I hope you have a beautiful day.